Trading Cities 1. Proceeding 80 miles into the northwest wind, you reach the city of Euphemia, where the merchants of 7 nations gather at every solstice and equinox. The boat that lands there with a cargo of ginger and cotton will set sail again, its hold filled with pistachio nuts and poppy seeds, and the caravan that has just unloaded sacks of nutmegs and raisins is already cramming its saddlebags with bolts of golden muslin for the return journey. But what drives men to travel up rivers and cross deserts to come here is not only the exchange of wares, which you could find everywhere the same, in all the bazaars inside and outside the great Khan's empire, scattered at your feet on the same yellow mats, in the shade of the same awnings protecting them from the flies, offered with the same lying reduction in prices. You do not come to Euphemia only to buy and sell, but also because at night, by the fires all around the market, seated on sacks or barrels or stretched out on piles of carpets, at each word that one man says, such as wolf, sister, hidden treasure, battle, scabies, lovers, the others tell, each one, his tale of wolves, sisters, treasures, scabies, lovers, battles. And you know that in the long journey ahead of you, when to keep awake against the camels swaying or the junks rocking, you start summoning up your memories one by one, your wolf will have become another wolf, your sister a different sister, your battle other battles on your return from Euphemia, the city where memory is traded at every solstice and at every equinox. Trading Cities 2. In Chloe, a great city, the people who move through the streets are all strangers. At each encounter, they imagine 1,000 things about one another, meetings which could take place between them, conversations, surprises, caresses, bites. But no one greets anyone. Eyes lock for a second and dart away, seeking other eyes, never stopping. A girl comes along, twirling a parasol on her shoulder, and twirling slightly also her rounded hips. A woman in black comes along, showing her full age, her eyes restless beneath her veil, her lips trembling. A tattooed giant comes along, a young man with white hair, a female dwarf, 2 girls, twins dressed in coral. Something runs among them, an exchange of glances like lines that connect one figure with another and draw arrows, stars, triangles, until all combinations are used up in a moment, and other characters come onto the scene. A blind man with a cheetah on a leash, a courtesan with an ostrich plume fan, an ephebe, a fat woman. And thus, when some people happen to find themselves together, taking shelter from the rain under an arcade, or crowding beneath an awning of the bazaar, or stopping to listen to the band in the square, meetings, seductions, copulations, orgies, are consummated among them without a word exchanged, without a finger touching anything, almost without an eye raised. A voluptuous vibration constantly stirs Chloe, the most chaste of cities. If men and women began to live their ephemeral dreams, every phantom would become a person with whom to begin a story of pursuits, pretenses, misunderstandings, clashes, oppressions, and the carousel of fantasies would stop. Trading Cities 3. When he enters the territory of which Eutropia is the capital, the traveler sees not one city but many, of equal size and not unlike one another, scattered over a vast rolling plateau. Eutropia is not one, but all these cities together. Only one is inhabited at a time, the others are empty, and this process is carried out in rotation. Now I shall tell you how. On the day when Eutropia's inhabitants feel the grip of weariness, and no one can bear any longer his job, his relatives, his house, and his life, debts, the people he must greet or who greet him, then the whole citizenry decides to move to the next city, which is there waiting for them, empty and good as new. There each will take up a new job, a different wife, will see another landscape on opening his window, and will spend his time with different pastimes, friends, gossip. So their life is renewed from move to move among cities whose exposure or declivity or streams or winds, make each site somehow different from the others. Since their society is ordered without great distinctions of wealth or authority, the passage from one function to another takes place almost without jolts. Variety is guaranteed by the multiple assignments, so that in the span of a lifetime a man rarely returns to a job that has already been his. Thus the city repeats its life, identical, shifting up and down on its empty chessboard. The inhabitants repeat the same scenes, with the actors changed. They repeat the same speeches with variously combined accents. They open alternate mouths in identical yawns. Alone among all the cities of the empire, Eutropia remains always the same. Mercury, god of the fickle, to whom the city is sacred, worked this ambiguous miracle. Trading Cities 4. In Ersilia, to establish the relationships that sustain the city's life, the inhabitants stretch strings from the corners of the houses. White or black or grey, or black and white, according to whether they mark a relationship of blood, of trade, authority, agency. When the strings become so numerous that you can no longer pass among them, the inhabitants leave. The houses are dismantled. Only the strings and their supports remain. From a mountainside, camping with their household goods, Ersilia's refugees look at the labyrinth of taut strings and poles that rise in the plain. That is the city of Ersilia still, and they are nothing. They rebuild Ersilia elsewhere. They weave a similar pattern of strings, which they would like to be more complex and at the same time more regular than the other. Then they abandon it and take themselves and their houses still farther away. Thus, when traveling in the territory of Ersilia, you come upon the ruins of the abandoned cities, without the walls, which do not last, without the bones of the dead, which the wind rolls away, spider webs of intricate relationships, seeking a form. Trading Cities 5. In Esmeralda, city of water, a network of canals and a network of streets span and intersect each other. To go from one place to another, you have always the choice between land and boat, and since the shortest distance between 2 points in Esmeralda is not a straight line, but a zigzag that ramifies in tortuous optional routes, the ways that open to each passerby are never 2, but many, and they increase further for those who alternate a stretch by boat with one on dry land. And so Esmeralda's inhabitants are spared the boredom of following the same streets every day. And that is not all. The network of routes is not arranged on one level, but follows instead an up and down course of steps, landings, cambered bridges, hanging streets. Combining segments of the various routes, elevated or on ground level, each inhabitant can enjoy every day the pleasure of a new itinerary to reach the same places. The most fixed and calm lives in Esmeralda are spent without any repetition. Secret and adventurous lives, here as elsewhere, are subject to greater restrictions. Esmeralda's cats, thieves, illicit lovers, move along higher, discontinuous ways, dropping from a rooftop to a balcony, following gutterings with acrobat steps. Below, the rats run in the darkness of the sewers, one behind the other's tail, along with conspirators and smugglers. They peep out of manholes and drainpipes. They slip through double bottoms and ditches. From one hiding place to another, they drag crusts of cheese, contraband goods, kegs of gunpowder, crossing the city's compactness, pierced by the spokes of underground passages. A map of Esmeralda should include, marked in different colored inks, all these routes, solid and liquid, evident and hidden. It is more difficult to fix on the map the routes of the swallows, who cut the air over the roofs, dropping long invisible parabolas with their still wings, darting to gulp a mosquito, spiraling upward, grazing a pinnacle, dominating from every point of their airy paths, all the points of the city.